Good evening. The time now is 11 p.m. Our headlines. Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS gunning for a landslide victory in GE15. Young and women candidates among 14 new faces in Gabungan Party Sarawak's lineup, and UGA calls for standard claim compensation by flood victims. Hello there, you're now with me, Douglas Elliott, and this is TVS Nightline. Our first story. Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS mission to win all 31 parliamentary seats in the 15th general election is not an impossible feat. Expressing his confidence, its chairman, Dato' Petinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, said it was based on its success during the 12th state election last year.
He said this during a special interview session at his office in the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly building. Abang Johari also explained GPS needs a loud voice in the Dewan Rakyat to highlight important issue that is crucial for the development of Sarawak. Thus, he hoped it can be parallel with the development implemented throughout the country based on the Malaysian spirit in which the federation was formed from the three main components, namely Federation of Malaya, Sabah and Sarawak. With that said, Sarawak will be able to continue the efforts to restore its rights through the Malaysia Agreement 1963 and the Intergovernmental Committee report.
Malaysia should have a standard format for claim compensation by flood victims. State Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Uga Ambas today said that whatever decision is made by the Federal Cabinet on the matter should be applicable in all states. Uga, who is also the chairman of the State Disaster Management Committee (SDMC), urged the federal government to clearly spell out what the victims can claim for compensation.
He said the matter was brought up in the parliamentary sitting recently in regard to why Sarawak was excluded from the compensation payment. However, he said a deputy minister replied that there had been no such application from the state. Another issue was on the payment of the Wang Isan Banjir for those who declined to stay at evacuation centres and whether they are eligible to receive such aid, adding that they were advised to move but they declined. Uga said this was in view of the announcement by caretaker Prime Minister Dato' Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob during the flood in Selangor in December last year, who had said that the compassionate funds must be paid to the victims at the evacuation centres within 3 days, as practiced during the recent flood in Bukit Miri recently. Thus, he urged National Disaster Management Agency NADMA for SDMC to pay first and for the agency to reimburse it later. He also requested NADMA to supply the state with an effective communication system to reach out to those settlements and longhouses deep in the interiors, as the only mode of communication with SDMC Secretariat is through amateur radio. He also appealed to NADMA to help the state set up more Community Emergency Response Teams, or CERT, noting its importance to help the people equip themselves in the event of a disaster, pending the arrival of the rescuing agencies. Earlier, UGA officiated the 2-day state-level workshop on the management of disaster operation control centres, and the workshop was attended by officers from the Police, Fire and Rescue Department, Welfare and Civil Defence Force departments, as well as from all resident and district offices.
Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS incumbents will consistently ensure that the federal government is committed in honouring the Malaysian Agreement 1963 or MA63. According to Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Sabah and Sarawak Affairs, Dato' Hanifah Hajar Taib, this includes the amendment of the Constitutional Act that needs to be discussed regularly.
Therefore, her ministry will thoroughly supervise the agreement in detail to ensure Sabah and Sarawak understand its content collectively.
Kita nak memastikan bahawa dari segi ayat-ayat tu tidak mempunyai terjemahan yang lain. Selain daripada itu, dia nak memastikan bahawa dari segi kaitan mengait dari segi akta tu semuanya dirangkumi. Okey, kita tak nak bahawa bila buat satu akta bahawa ia adalah setengah mentah.
The Muka incumbent said discussion related to the amendment with input from Sarawak and Sabah's government and Peninsula as the signing of MA63 will be intensified.
Alhamdulillah. Jadi insya-Allah kita masih akan memajukan dari segi akta-akta yang perlu diubahsuaikan dan dari segi hak-hak Sarawak dan Sabah. Saya bertanggungjawab juga dari segi hak-hak Sabah dengan Sarawak. Saya perlu memastikan bahawa ia akan dilaksanakan dengan betul dan memastikan juga bahawa tiada ketinggalan adalah fakta yang terlengkap kerana ada banyak perubahan daripada waktu dulu hingga sekarang.
The Premier of Sarawak, Datuk Patinggi Abang Johari Tun Openg, recently stressed the struggle of the people of Sarawak to reclaim their rights under the 1963 Malaysia Treaty, which have been eroded. He explained that the struggle is to set a bigger direction with determination to further strengthen the identity of Sarawak as a part of the Malaysian equal partner.
Women and young candidates are among the 14 new faces set to contest under the Gabungan Party Sarawak GPS ticket in the upcoming 15th general election. And hinting this, its chairman Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg said that the list of candidates is more or less finalized and that it will be announced officially on November 3rd.
Citing New Sarawak Tribune, the Premier revealed that the coalition would have around 10 to 14 new faces. Abang Johari, who is also the Parti Pesaka Bersatu PBB president, said that the party will field new and young faces in each parliamentary election. New faces will also be fielded among GPS component parties, including Sarawak United People's Party SUPP, Progressive Democratic Party PDP and Parti Rakyat Sarawak PRS, with reports saying that SUPP will field 3 new faces out of the 6 parliamentary seats in the polls.
Speculations on whether or not state assemblymen will contest in the 15th general election will be answered on November 3rd. Parti Pesaka Bumiputra Bersatu PBB Deputy President Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Ali Hassan said it is the prerogative of the Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS Chairman Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg to make such call. Nonetheless, the Deputy Premier said GPS machinery is ready to secure the victory and to face all possibilities.
Ya tengoklah masa pengumuman calon-calon nanti. Walaupun kita GPS, kita akan meletakkan calon kita di semua kawasan, 31 kawasan. Dan kita bersedia untuk menghadapi apa juga kemungkinan-kemungkinan yang berlaku. Bukan saja lawas, kita nak coba pastikan kemenangan yang besar untuk seluruh Sarawak ini.
GPS is expected to field 10 to 14 new faces in the upcoming polls.
Similarly, Batu Kitang Assemblyman Loh Kechiang has conveyed his willingness to contest in the upcoming 15th general election if given the chance, saying that he would not pass upon such opportunity. Citing Suara Sarawak, Loh said he is ready to reclaim the stumping parliamentary seat from the opposition and to contribute victory to Gabungan Parti Sarawak GPS. He told reporters that only GPS can take good care of Sarawak. The Sarawak government is committed to the effort to bridge the digital gap to strengthen the skills and capabilities of a community. Deputy Chief Scientist and Deputy Chief Advisor for Sarawak Media Authority SMA, Professor Dr. Al-Khalid Othman said, so far 45 digital community centres have been developed throughout Sarawak in its first phase.
Salah satu usaha untuk mengurangkan jurang digital ni sama ada dari segi pendidikan dan juga latihan kepada komuniti itu, kita telah melaksanakan satu projek. We launch Digital Community Center yang komplement kepada apa yang diusahakan oleh Kementerian MC, PD for example. Jadi pendidikan DCC ni, set up DCC ni adalah untuk kita terus ke tempat yang belum ada the accessibility kepada internet sendiri. Apabila set up ni, kita tawarkan services perkhidmatan. Ada 10 perkhidmatan di dalam DCC itu sendiri. Termasuk menyediakan platform sebagai tempat R&D. Yang paling penting, kita nak mengajar, memberi pendidikan kepada komuniti, kepada pelajar sekolah itu sendiri tentang penggunaan digital tu.
He said this when interviewed in TVS Malaysia Decides program on Friday. For the second phase, it will be launched at interior areas of Sarawak to provide access in developing a digital community.
Kalau betul dicadangkan, kita nak pergi ke kawasan Baram yang lebih dalam lagi kan. Kawasan-kawasan seperti Long Lamai, Bak Kelalan, Long San sekarang ni belum ada set up lagi di sisi. Kita nak pergi pada tempat-tempat mereka ni ada sekolah. And then apabila habis sekolah, dia orang tak tahu nak buat apa. So kebanyakan pelajar-pelajar ni kalau di sekolah dia duduklah boarding. Kalau di kawasan sekolah accessibility tu ada. Tapi kalau bercuti kan kena orang balik ke kawasan masing-masing, kuranglah accessibility dia. Kalau boleh di kawasan-kawasan yang terpencil sikit dah, kita boleh masuk kawasan tu, kita set upkan the same infrastructure and facility tu dibagi supaya lagi dapat membangunkan modal insan tu sendirilah.
Still to come after the break, scientists have found a way to turn dead spiders into mechanical robots. Plus, we'll check in with the contestants of Guitar and Jiwa right here on TVS Nightline. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Ministry of Health, MOH, is still in discussion with the Election Commission in regard to the Standard Operating Procedures SOP during the 15th general election. Caretaker Health Minister Kari Jamaluddin said it will be finalized latest by Monday.
So PPRU masih lagi dalam perbincangan. SPR telah pun minta maklum balas daripada KKM latest. Ada beberapa perkara yang SPR boleh buat, ada yang mungkin mereka susah nak buat. So kita akan bagi maklum balas dalam sehari dua ni lah.
He told reporters after officiating the Commonwealth and 4th Global Wound Conference 2022 on Friday. The ministry has previously recommended to the EC regarding several GE15 SOPs that should be in place for a COVID-19 safe election, so that the people are not to be affected by the presence of COVID-19 patients. Last Tuesday, EC set November 19th as polling day, November 5th as nomination day, and early voting day on November 15th.
Petroleum Nasional Berhad Petronas has signed 2 agreements with Petroleum Sarawak Berhad or Petros on collaboration opportunities under the Sarawak Gas Roadmap. According to Petronas Executive Vice President Dato' Adif Zulkifli, the agreements will help accelerate both parties' shared aspiration to grow the state's energy industry. One of the agreements and the Heads of Agreements HOA is to expand the usage of natural gas within Sarawak to supply 60 million standard cubic feet per day of gas by 2026, while the Joint Collaboration Agreement JCA is to facilitate the stewardship of CSS development and its operations.
The HOA follows after the MOU that was signed in December 2021, which related to the amendment total of natural gas supply to Sarawak for the projects under the Sarawak Gas Roadmap. Both Petronas and Petros will also work closely to establish carbon capture and storage CCS as a new business opportunity for Sarawak through a study for a CCS ecosystem that can put Sarawak as a separate regional hub. ADEF continues, as a long-term partner of Sarawak, Petronas will carry on playing its role on the development of a sustainable and progressive oil and gas industry.
Tan Sri P. Ramlee's classic hits are being revived through TVS's new reality program, Getaran Jiwa. This week's guest judge, II Ilusi, said Getaran Jiwa is a good exposure for the younger generation to appreciate the late artist's masterpiece.
Program ini adalah sangat-sangat yang kita minta selama ini. Kerana program ini mengingatkan pada generasi yang sekarang ini mengenali siapa itu Tan Sri P. Ramlee. Kerana lagu-lagu beliau, ciptaan beliau dengan filem yang beliau lakonkan dan juga beliau karang. Semuanya memang kata orang daripada zaman beliau dulu sehingga sekarang masih lagi orang suka menonton dan juga orang masih lagi ketawa. Walaupun dah beratus kali diulang cerita tu. Jadi apa yang dilakukan oleh TVS ni maksudnya satu pendekatan yang baik sekali untuk kita generasi yang baru ni untuk mengenali lagu-lagu beliau yang ada kualiti yang tinggi.
The veteran artist expressed his excitement when he was offered to be the guest judge alongside Dato' Nash and Norafiza Busman. II also encouraged the contestants to give it their all in their own ways while maintaining the artistic value of songs.
Untuk para peserta program ini sangat baik. Untuk anda di luar sana, program ini yang saya katakan sangat baik untuk membuktikan bahawasanya generasi sekarang ini pun tahu lagu P. Ramlee dan amat meminati P. Ramlee. Jadi saya harap para peserta yang mengambil bahagian dalam pertandingan Getaran Jiwa ni, saya hendak anda menyanyikan dengan penuh semangat dan memahami erti kata lirik yang ditulis oleh Allahyarham Tan Sri P. Ramlee. Anda dengan cara anda, tapi saya ingin mengingatkan pada anda, jangan merosakkan lagu. Jangan merosakkan lagu Tan Sri P. Ramlee.
II said this when met with TVS at the MBKS Stadium on Friday.
Aku yang kehilangan dalam diri sendiri, terkurung dalam bayanganmu. Hai, saya II Ilusi. Untuk anda di luar sana, jangan lupa saksikan Getaran Jiwa yang akan bersiaran pada hari Jumaat jam 8.45 malam di saluran 122 TVS. Astro, you're my friend.
The second episode of Getaran Jiwa concluded tonight with two contestants, Suli George from Sabah and Madis Puan from Sarawak, advancing to the semi-finals with a total score of 53.7 and 49.8 points respectively. Joining the two semi-finalists from the first episode, Sam Dean and Izwan Dahlan. Now to get the lowdown on the post-concert, we have our colleague Hafizur joining us from MBKS. Take it away, Hafizur.
Thank you, Douglas. Tonight we have witnessed two contestants advancing to the semi-final of Getaran Jiwa, which is Mehdi Safwan and also Suli George. Suli George wowed the crowds with his rendition of P. Ramlee, which is Malamku Bermimpi, while Mehdi Safwan impressed the judge with Zuraida. Joining me tonight is II Ilusi, the guest judge for Getaran Jiwa. So, Mr. II Ilusi, boleh tak kongsikan sedikit mengenai persembahan peserta pada malam ini?
Rata-rata saya melihat peserta yang punya bakat yang besar. Dan saya harap pihak TVS teruskan kompetisi yang macam ni untuk membangkitkan lagi ramai peserta daripada Sarawak maupun daripada Sabah. Ini peluang mereka sebenarnya dan mereka mempunyai bakat yang sangat besar. Saya sangat teruja pada malam ini kerana yang mana kalah pun mempunyai bakat yang besar. Cuma kesilapan sedikit saja. Untuk kesilapan, untuk mereka memperbaiki untuk masa akan datang. Itu saja. Memang terbaiklah malam ni.
Jadi secara keseluruhannya peserta menepati KPI yang ditetapkan oleh juri?
Betul. Pada malam ni saya rasa memang menepati apa yang kami inginkan selama ini. Dapat kami melihat ada yang mempunyai cara tersendiri untuk mengubah dari segi muzik dan juga cara nyanyian mereka. Okey, tidak jauh. Dia tidak merosakkan lagu, tapi dia olahkan lagu itu dengan cara yang baik. Itu saja.
Ya, terima kasih kepada Mr. Ayat Yunusi.
Thank you.
Jadi that's all the update from me. Back to studio, Douglas.
Bye.
Thank you for staying with us. Tesla CEO Elon Musk completed his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter on Thursday and immediately fires 3 key senior executives from the company, including its CEO Parag Agrawal. According to multiple reports, he also prepared a new course for the microblogging website.
As concerns rise that should Musk purchase Twitter, he would decrease its efforts to tone down content, particularly hate speech, which would likely leave many advertisers scrambling for the exits, along with everyday users. But in a message aimed at advertisers, he vowed to continue Twitter's policies of policing various content, including hate speech and threats. He also addressed his beliefs that advertising, when done right, can delight, entertain, and inform people, as well as providing service or product and medical treatment that people never know existed. He added it is essential to show Twitter users that advertising are as relevant as possible to their needs, and Twitter aspires to be the most respected advertising platform in the world.
Experiments with dead spiders may sound creepy to some people, but a group of mechanical engineers in Texas has found a way to transform dead spiders into mechanical claw grippers. A field of necrobotic science, the project began in 2019, which uses non-traditional materials as robotic components.
So we're referring to these as necrobotic grippers. We're calling it necrobotics because we're using these basically dead objects, dead spiders in this case, but it can be any kind of biotic materials. You could imagine this as a similar material class to things like leather or, bone, if you imagine some of our early ancestors having developed tools from bones. This is an extension of that same concept, this necrobotics.
According to Preston, the experiment started out as an accident after they found out a spider curled up in the hallway. Preston and his students set out to discover why spiders curl up when they die and found that spiders do not have antagonistic muscle pairs.
So in a human, we have our biceps and our triceps. They work to both flex and then extend the elbow joint. But when you think about spiders, they have flexor muscles that will bring their joints and appendages in towards the body, but they don't have extensors. And instead, they do that with hydraulic pressure that they generate inside of the main cavity or chamber of their body. But at the same time, that means that we can use hydraulic pressure when we use the spider as the material for our gripper to take advantage of that and extend all of its legs or joints.
The experiment harnessed a spider's physiology in the first step toward necrobotics. To set up a gripper, the prosoma chamber of the spider is tapped with a needle with a dab of super glue. The other end of the needle is then connected to a handheld syringe, which delivers air to activate the legs. The lab used wolf spiders in the research, which included manipulating a circuit board, moving objects, and lifting objects. They found that the wolf spider could lift more than 130% of its own body weight. The prospect of using necrobotic spiders has many advantages, not just for the environment, but also its reduced cost and added bonus of a spider's size versus the size of a human finger.
Sit a little closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. More headlines anytime, head to our website at tvstv.my or follow us on our social media. And also don't forget to catch our comprehensive discussion on GE15 with our daily coverage of Malaysia Decides at 2 p.m. And that's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Douglas Elliott. Thank you for watching and have a good weekend ahead.